Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude BeyondMystic, and welcome to this very special report. Tonight, of course, the Emergencies Act vote in Parliament. Thank you for joining us here tonight. Of course, you can find my co-host at Sending Ravens here on YouTube and also at Tarot by Janine. Janine, welcome back to the show.
Hi. Hi, Jean-Claude. Hi, everybody.
Why are you smirking, Janine? What's going on?
Oh, yeah. When they said gut punches, they meant it.
Yeah, I know. It's funny.
Oh,
I've
my
been
God.
watching that too, and I'm not sure it's a gut punch. I'm actually, I don't know how to think about this right now. It's actually kind of funny.
Mm,
So, folks,
yeah.
as you can tell, I'm still here in Ottawa, and I'm reporting live. I did quite a bit of footage here around the hill today, showing the fact that I haven't posted the footage yet, but showing the fact that the city is hard at work, still reinforcing the city, even though they've recaptured the city. So more fences going up. It's very interesting because also today when Trudeau came out in his press release, he said that this was by no means over and that there were still some serious threats to our democracy. And I'll remind you that last week, of course, this was supposed to be temporary, yet again this morning or yesterday, Minister Freeland said that it was now no longer temporary, that they were going to make permanent at least the measures on the Anti-Terrorism and Laundering Act, and go after people who are funding apparently freedom lovers here. So that goes to tell you the the term temporary is often used incorrectly. So let's go to the main. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here. I'll try to bring your comments on as we go here tonight and take some questions at the end of the show. But the lead, of course, is the fact that, hey, wait on. There you go. The fact that the House did just vote here a couple of minutes ago, and the Parliament did, in fact, uphold the Emergencies Act. And let me see if I can get the right number for you. I just had it on my screen. So 185 of your elected officials voted yay, meaning yes, and 151 voted nay, meaning no. Now, most of the Conservatives voted no, and also some members of the Bloc Québécois, but of course, Jagmeet Singh, the NDP, and the Liberals were in cahoots here to ram this legislation through. Now, your first reaction, Janine, I know that you recorded a new episode for Tarot by Janine that will be out tomorrow morning on all of this, but give the
Mhm.
audience here first your impression of just watching this live with me and also what you just recorded here for the audience.
Well, it looked like a big show to me. It looked like they'd all been phoned and read the riot act, or like the people speaking were so in what's that word? They didn't seem like they were telling the truth. It was just a whole bunch of posturing and lies. That's what I got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it was odd too because some people were voting electronically and they couldn't do so, so they had to
Yeah.
come on camera in front of the speaker to explain what their vote was actually, so that the House recognized their votes. And I'm sure some of them were very stressed to do that because now they were live, face on camera, as opposed to the wide shot where they were standing in the House. So I would not have wanted to be them voting yes there and have my face on the camera. But that's just me. I have some ideas about freedom, so I'm not sure where those guys' ambitions lie. Perhaps we can bring up that slide of the makeup of the Parliament of Canada and how all of these people seem to be reporting to other powers. So let me see if I can bring that. It's a little bit of a joke.
Yep.
Somebody put that out earlier this morning. Like, yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
So let's go to this. We just mentioned that Freeland here announced that these measures were, at least part of these measures in the Emergency Act, were now going to be permanent. Now, in the episode you and I did with Woo Woo Dude and Jason Four last night, he was getting that perhaps Freeland would be replacing here Trudeau very shortly. And when we were talking about that yesterday, there was a couple of options on the table for that to actually happen. One of them, him losing the vote or maybe having a huge revolt here today. Now, those things have not happened, but is it still possible that Trudeau could, in fact, resign? What's interesting about that, the opposition members today, just before the vote, they asked the Speaker of the House, they said, hey, Trudeau mentioned today that this vote is a confidence vote or could be seen as a confidence vote. And if in fact you log it as a confidence vote, if you lose a vote, you lose your government. And so the Conservatives were asking the House Leader tonight if in fact this vote was registered as such. And the House Leader for the Liberals said, no, it's no more time to debate. Didn't want to answer the question. Let's just now vote, just in case they didn't get all the votes in. But that's interesting because now he has the votes. This has passed through, but I still see an opportunity for him to resign. And you're going to say, well, why, JC? He has everything he wants. Well, let's think about this. And I want to have your take in the cards on this as well. If he were to resign, and let's say somebody's writing a speech like right now and saying, oh, we of course did the right decision. This was a measured approach and it was absolutely necessary. It was a last resort, but I know it was very divisive. And for the benefit of the country and for the healing, I'm going to magnanimously step back here and heal our party wounds and heal our nation's wounds so that we can all come together, blah, 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 right? And then give the baton over to either Freeland or somebody else, but to at least change the narrative to remove the target, because even though they've passed this in the House, there were still 2.2 million Canadians on the Hill a week ago, not in agreement with all of this, and this is probably going to rage even more. So there's still a possibility of him stepping down in that fashion and him trying to look good as the hero doing it. Now, there's astrology to that effect that could put this date this Friday of this week. And I'm going to see if I can get the reasons for that on the screen in a little bit here. But let's ask the cards. Is it possible, the scenario I've just described, that in fact, this government might fall, but not the reasons why we thought they would fall? Janine.
Well, my cards say this is a whole lot of smoke and mirrors, and there's all this hidden stuff anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's way more people for the freedom than against it. They're just not counting it properly, right? So we're hearing there's 52% back in the freedom fighters. You better believe it's more like 70%, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
And people that just don't agree with what's going on. And now we've got the chariot. So and this also indicates, I think, that everything we're watching isn't true. There's something, this is false. Like, so all of those scenarios, so when you ask a question to cards with all those scenarios, they sound like reasonable political moves. Nothing that's going on is reasonable political. It's, it's this. So this card is everything's eerie and in a weird place and falsified. And the person you're even talking about isn't really Trudeau. That isn't really him. You know what I mean?
By the way,
so
he looked really weird this morning too. He looked disheveled and kind of out of place, but keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. And this feels like things could happen really fast, but in a totally different direction. And it's going to have to do with an outside force. An outside military force could actually make things shift to the advantage of the humans.
Wow. Okay. We'll get into Russia in a little bit here, the situation in Ukraine. Again, we talked about this last night. There's been some more development here today. But speaking of the army, so you asked me earlier, what did you make of this thing? And kind of like you, I'm like, I don't know what to make of it. It doesn't seem real to me. It seems fabricated. It seems fake. Some of the guys voting today don't look stressed enough for this to be real. And so it looks a little bit odd. And what I was hearing today were some people here perhaps trying to push a negative narrative in order to put the fear into people. So I'm going to say that as a caveat here. That's not what I'm trying to do. I want to look at that option, get some cards in. If in fact there is a possibility, then we can make a conscious vote that we don't want that as humans and redress the course of our own trajectory. This is why I'm bringing this up. So please, guys, bear with me. But some people here were saying in high up positions of government today that if this indeed was upheld, that this would give basically carte blanche to the prime minister here to use the military now to try to do forced vaccination, to go door to door under this Emergency Act now, and also rescind all of the backtracking the provinces have made as of late to remove some of these COVID restriction departures like Alberta, Saskatchewan, Ontario, who were lifting the mandates as of late. So let's ask, is that actually in the cards, or is that a narrative here, again, of fear, or maybe of the white hats to enrage even more people to stand up for their rights? What's going on with that scenario that we're hearing today?
I don't think that's going to work. It's not going to be that. It's going to be a army coming in, or some kind of military, a positive, this is my good military, and come rushing in and change everything really fast. And they are going to continue, like, so this happened in the past already. They stepped away from, or a lot of provinces stepped away from things. So that looks like it stays. It looks like, so we got a lot of smoke and mirrors, and that's probably a fear tactic to help people wake up, because this card will usually show up when there's psychological things going on against us, right? But the cards around it are positive, like good military and things changing for the positive for humans. So I'm thinking we've got a tactic by some hidden factors that the general public don't know about, but we've been talking about for a while. The shadow, but I think is the shadow government that's puppeting all these people.
We've been talking about the army for quite some time here. And of course, in the last 2 weeks, they said that they would do no such thing as to implement any Emergencies Act or remove people from the Hill. They were quite clear about that. So is it perhaps necessary for the House tonight to, in fact, uphold the Emergencies Act, to kick the army into first gear, to remove the foreign threat that is now perhaps behind this scenario in Canada? Is this the army you're looking for? And did they need this last piece here in order, maybe in their last checks and balance in their constitutional makeup, to start acting on Canadian soil on behalf of the majority of Canadians?
So now you're talking. It looks like they're in cahoots with a neighbor. So I'd say the U.S. Mm-hmm. So our military, or maybe a portion of it, there's another military in them. So they're coming together as a team. They're doing some teamwork, and they were waiting for some things to get put in place first, which sounds like what you're saying. And then the near future outcome is, so they're going to get a more positive situation going on for Canada all around. It's like a breakthrough for Canada. It's positive, not negative. So I'm thinking it goes a totally different direction than what it looks like right now.
Wow. Okay, now that's interesting also, because we're getting reports of military movements in the States also. Won't get into the details as to that right now for security reasons, but that could be interesting here, that it is a coordinated effort throughout North America. And of course, tomorrow is the famous 222 that a lot of psychics have been looking at, and also the astrology seemed to be pointing that it was a big day. Now today, what's it called? The Truth social platform. It went up live. Some people were downloading the app, having trouble registering. I think it was just so busy, but I did get a few emails from people saying, okay, I finally logged in. I have my account set up. So is it possible that tomorrow, in conjunction with Truth Social, that we also see a big move either by the military, by Mr. T coming back into the limelight, or anything like that could change, again, the fortunes here in Canada? What kind of cards glean on that? Because I just want to remind the audience here too, let me bring it up on the screen. Trudeau said this morning that this Emergencies Act was by far not over, and that they were still facing a threat. So he's looking at something, and the police are looking at something that is still scaring them. That's why they're keeping up with all of the security measures around Ottawa, and they keep putting up a fencing. Go ahead, Janine.
It looks really possible that Mr. T, Mr. T is back in the public in a more official way. We know he's been in the background, but yeah, it does.
Wow.
That's a big possibility. And I get they're looking at, so it could be within days, hours, or days. So if it's not tomorrow, it's maybe sometime this week, but they're still being careful, surrendering to, like, things got to feel safe and secure to do that. I don't know exactly what that means, but we always get there really cautious with that move. But I think it's a real big possibility.
Wow. Okay, let's switch gears here. Today, Cliff High put this out, FUBAR. You guys know what that means. But essentially, he's reacting here to Freeland and the asset forfeiture here in Canada, saying that perhaps the Trudeau government has something else in mind here. They're not necessarily just going after the freedom lovers here who were supporting the truckers, but they might actually be looking at Chinese funds and assets. And there's a reason for that. So if you go read that, you can find that on his Substack and also on his Twitter. He put a link to it. A lot of Chinese were looking at getting their money out of harm's way in China. And China, of course, was closing a lot of the gates for people to do that. And one of the popular destinations for assets was, in fact, Canada. So I wanted to ask the cards, is it possible that this move here from Freeland to make this permanent is also on behest or on behalf of the Chinese government in order to track down assets that have left the Chinese soil here into Canada? One, well, let's ask that one first, and then I'll have a supplement question. So is it possible that he's also after, on behalf of the Chinese here, money and assets that belong to China?
It looks like that was a shock to those youth that or people that invested or put their money in Canada or hiding it here or whatever. It looks like it was a shock, and we've got this hold on situation here. So it doesn't look like a yes to how you said it. So what was the second part to how you said it?
Well, hold on, Janine. You're right on the money, because this is what they're saying here. The Chinese and other people who were putting their money here thought it was safe because it wasn't a dictatorship, that it was in fact a democracy. And now it's a huge shock to them that, holy shit, in Canada, they're now putting implementation of acts and regulations. So you're absolutely right on the money. But now the question is, the second one will be, what does this trigger? And Cliff High is suggesting that these assets need to move before they're being frozen. Where are they going to go? Gold, silver, and crypto. Is this also now the trigger that really creates that panic to own moment that we've been forecasting in a long time here for both crypto, silver, and gold, seeing now that there's no more safe havens, even in what was known or expected to be safe democracies here in Canada?
It's definitely caused a lot of stress, and people are already in motion, messing around with moving their stuff, taking action. Three of Wands goes through the gateway, takes action, right? So they've been watching what's happening. Now they're in stress mode. Wheel of Fortune. So it feels like it has a different reason. So maybe that act is going to actually help the good guys clean some stuff up.
Yeah.
Because that's what this is looking like. It's to the positive, and it's doing exactly the opposite of what some people might think it was doing. It actually is going to help them clean some monkey business up in Canada.
That's fascinating. And around the world too. And again, the truckers did show that because, okay, so first of all, they woke up a lot of people to a lot of Canadians to their power, and also to the need to fight for freedom. But it also woke them up to the fact that the mainstream media was absolutely lying to them. A lot of people woke up in the last 2 weeks to see the huge discrepancy between what we were seeing on mainstream media and social media. And then also, because of this freedom convoy, people are learning that their money is not safe in these government assets or government protected institutions. And so, you know that GoFundMe was seized, the first $10 million, and then they also seized the second time another $10 million on Give, Send, Go. Now, what was funny last week, GoFundMe had been hacked, and it was the CBC that was basically emailing the donors list to ask them to explain themselves. Well, this week we're hearing reports that the Globe and Mail has also now obtained a list of donors to Give, Send, Go, and they're now intimidating the Give, Send, Go donors. So again, this is educating a lot of people, like Spare Dime here is saying in the chat, be your own bank. Enough of this stuff. These guys are absolutely off their rocker here as it pertains to civil liberties and personal assets. And on that note, guys, and let me just bring that back up. If you haven't studied this yet, please do take a course, any course. If you want to take this one, we'd of course be happy to share that with you. But this is the Panic to Own course that Joe and I put together to help you go from zero to having your own wallet, your exchange set up in a safe and secure manner, so that you can get maybe some of your assets here out of harm's way. And I know a lot of Canadians today are thinking, hey, wait a second, I gave these people $50, $20, $5. Are my accounts in danger right now? Well, we're hearing more of those questions. So again, this is why you have to educate yourself with the idea of decentralized cryptocurrencies and how to do that safely. So you can do that at beyondmystic.net/pay-per-view. Janine, let's take a pulse on that too. The reason that the Globe and Mail is looking at Give, Send, Go today, is this another continued attempt perhaps from the white hats to further exacerbate and educate people here on becoming their own bank and to basically rebel against this institutional warfare banking slavery model that we had for the last number of thousands of years? Is that what's going on?
I think so. Yeah. It's because it's been going on for a really long time, and we actually weren't safe for a really long time. They've been up to no good for a really long time. So and it also has something to do with making the shift that's coming, so the financial shift, look way better. It's going to make a lot of people understand why the new system that's going in, that I believe is going in up and under the old one, is going to look better, and why we need to be backed with something real and not just printing money.
Yeah.
It's got a whole bunch of reasons. This is going to work to our advantage and not our disadvantage, even though it's going to be painful for a bit. Remember, whenever we looked at, so it was going to be a long, cold winter of gut punches and weird things that felt really bad, but the big picture was way better for us. I think this is part of that.
Wow. Okay, guys, a little bit of housekeeping here. Of course, there on the pay-per-view site, you see the crypto crash courses available, as well as the security update. I want to let you know the Astro Wu Finance for February is on sale. The code is SAVE33. I'll give you 33% off of this personal reading for your finances here with Janine and Julie, putting in the tarot and the Astro together. And this next couple of days here, Janine and I have been tracking all of this information, as well as the cryptos and the moves that are coming up into crypto. So we will be recording another Beyond Crypto Woo for the month of March here in the next couple of days, and maybe a day or two after we'll also be recording the next Astro Woo. So stay tuned for all of that. Right now, of course, I'm on the road here today. Well, in the last couple of days, so it's harder to get all of this stuff done, but I was able to upload to the Insider Access Pass the last episode we recorded with Julie and Janine, and that's the Starseed Envoy program. So if you guys are interested in that, the Insider Access Pass members, you already have access here, and perhaps tomorrow or the day after, I will also be publishing this episode here to the pay-per-view. Now, speaking of the astrology, Julie in the last couple of shows was mentioning that we would soon be hearing about the sexual proclivities, disclosures, where the money's coming from in the Trudeau family. So let's see what happened here. This was interesting. Of course, you posted this earlier today. Set this up for the audience members here and watch maybe some of the language. I know you and I have talked about this quite a bit in older pay-per-views, but for the context of what's happening right now, the disclosure of where this money is, the trafficking, and the money, it's very important, and this perhaps ties into why you're thinking that this government and the head of this government, Trudeau, could in fact still fall this week. Janine, set this up for the audience.
Yeah, so that's definitely worth a watch, but there's lots of videos with info about his whole family goes way back. They're occult family, and he was likely brought up in those kind of ways of those kind of families. And all kinds of disgusting disclosures that, you have to watch it because we can't talk about any of them. But yeah, he's been tied to and a whole lot of really elites in Canada and all over the world were tied to that farm in BC, that pig farm that actually had a nightclub, an elites nightclub. And they did horrific things and filmed them and put it on the dark web, and all kinds of ritual things going on there. And yeah, all kinds of things. That's what really was going on at the pig farm.
And you know, Colonel Williams was attached to that farm with the plane rides, and he was the personal air pilot for Jean-Claude for a while. Like, again, very hard to talk about all of this stuff here, but it does connect, and it all seems to be coming out. So just going back to that on the astrology for Trudeau, I don't have it in front of me here, but there's an alignment this particular Friday that could spell disaster for him personally. Let's pull some cards and take a beat on this coming Friday for Mr. JT himself. What can his notes tell us?
It's interesting because when I did the reading, I won't give all the details, so you got to go watch my Tarot by Janine reading tomorrow. But when I did it, it looked like Friday could be the day he really gets taken down, and it didn't feel like he'd volunteer it. Like you said, maybe that was an opportunity. I don't know. It looked like he had to get sort of ousted out of there from some kind of schmarmy, yucky stuff. Can't say it, so I got to say that. You guys, some yucky stuff.
Wow.
Okay, but let's have a look. Yeah, it didn't look like it would happen tomorrow, which is a day we're all looking at. It feels like tomorrow, though, is an energetic pivot that everything starts rolling from. That's for sure. With that Pluto aspecting, like it is. Like Pluto.
And tomorrow also is the U.S. Pluto return energy. So it may have more to do with the U.S. So we'll see. But still, there are big neighbors, and it's going to impact the situation around the world. Okay, so read on the cards Friday for Mr. JT. Yeah. And just so you know, while you're doing that, the sun will be on Canada's Jupiter in the house of politics, opposing Canada's Mars. So military energy, as you were saying there, military in there coming up. Whoa.
Interesting. So it's been a long time coming for that whole family, but their karma's coming within, I think we're days away. We could be 2 days. So that would make it Thursday. But we're days away, you guys. Yeah, it's coming for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of emails yesterday, Janine, and people kind of freaked out because we were talking about crypto, gold and silver with Woo Woo Dude and Joe. And when you pulled on the crypto, you said, this month is going to be volatile, some up, some down, but mostly volatile, and maybe would get this huger rise in the summer, like May, June, July, I think is what you were saying, which was aligning exactly with what Cliff High was saying also. But some people were surprised that you said that silver and gold might be more dramatic a lot sooner. Do you remember reading that? Because I know when you read, sometimes you don't remember when you're channeling stuff. Explain that to this audience who might not have seen that show. And I'm going to ask you a few cards, to pull a few cards also on a subsequent question here.
Well, I can't really explain it because I read it.
Or maybe recap it for the audience of what you meant by that, or what you understood from that reading last night.
Yeah, it was more murky looking in the cards for the other ones. In other words, if in fact they looked like they'd be susceptible to a big downfall in the market where the market crashes. Okay, well, we've been seeing the market crash fairly dramatically for quite a while because that fiat dollar's going down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's already in the background really gone down, but I think it'll have a dramatic market crash. And some of those cryptos are going to dramatically crash is what I thought, because we got the 3 of Swords in that reading. But then it looked like some of them would, and we've been seeing that for a while, some of them would pick right back up, and some of them might go by the wayside and never really gain again, but others would pick right up. So we're going to have to get more specific about that when we got that, couple hours we do, or hour and a half in our crypto.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at that. Hey, we're at 10,000 alive. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe. It's working. We're reaching even more people, and it really helps out with the algorithms when you guys share some comments and share these videos, and absolutely hit that like button. It really helps us. And also subscribe to the channels here, both on Jean-Claude BeyondMystic 3 and also on Tarot by Janine and Sending Ravens. But to your point here, I just saw this earlier today. Some restaurants are now including a temporary inflation fee to the bill. You can see that on the screen here. And that's interesting because Cliff was saying that inflation would be so quick and so fast that they wouldn't have time to do their typical strategy of shrinkflation, where basically they give you less product for the same price so that you don't notice the inflation. They're not going to have time to do that. So here's a tactic in runaround. After he said that, of course, it's hitting the mainstream here, that restaurants are adding this temporary inflation bill. So speaking of inflation, this is why, again, you and I have been talking about, yes, Jonathan on the screen, silver, 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 silver. Okay, let's take a beat on silver right now. All of this seems to be lining up. We have the astrology for this week. We have this government with the asset forfeitures. Where is silver reacting, both as a physical and a spiritual metal, but also maybe as a warrior in this whole battle? And what do people need to know about holding physical silver at this late stage in the game and in the war we're fighting?
So that's in the past, which we all know watching this, that it's been held back. So it's already worth way more than they're letting on. And the reason I think they're doing that, correct me if I'm wrong about this, but just common sense tells me, so the elites can hoard it.
Yeah.
And they don't want you catching on that it's worth that much. But it's too late because we caught on, right? So now this is interesting. Something that's going on in the universe and the spiritual conflict that's happening out in the universe is contributing to the silver and gold rise. That's what I think here, looking at these cards. Something that's going on. Now, how would that be? Does that make any sense to you, Jean-Claude?
Yes. And okay, so for many reasons. First of all, there's this idea of technology eventually making its way down to Earth from some of our secret space programs, or from what Richard Dolan calls the breakaway civilizations, or Earthlings that are no longer in space. This technology at some point comes back to humanity, but it can only come back when the system of control here on the planet is removed, so that energy extraction matrix is removed. And we're going through that process now. And once that happens, of course, not only does the suppression of silver end, but also the use case for it goes through the window. And this leads into what Cliff High's been talking about for years, the new electrics. So there's that, just on the physical side of it, but there's also apparently a spiritual warfare about silver and gold. And we've been under this gold type of energy for a while with the patriarchy, but this silver is more attached to the moon and to the feminine energy. And that too right now is rising in energy. So there's a connection there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And these two cards together indicate that first thing you said about kind of off-world using it. So more advanced technology coming in. And so this is like working with it. It's going to be used for their technology, and we're going to have access to the technology. So it's going to be really valuable because we're going to need a lot of it.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Okay, guys, if you want to check it out here, beyondmystic.net/silver. These are the discounts afforded to the Beyond Mystic audience here by Miles Franklin. And if we scroll up on the page there, you'll see the link also to MF Bullion Canada, which is our Canadian subsidiary here and affiliate program for our Canadian listeners. Now, just on a quick note, one of the two people who won the 100-ounce silver bars last week did already send me an email with a picture of him holding his 100-ounce bar. Absolutely a happy camper. But I'm waiting to receive the other one from Stephanie, who said absolutely yes. When she receives a bar, she'll take a picture and send that to us so that we can share that through our next episode. So stay tuned for that. Two really, really happy campers here with 100-ounce each of silver in their own possession. So a big thank you to everyone who supported that campaign of awareness, to bring awareness of the importance of silver here to the Beyond Mystic audience. You guys are absolutely amazing. Jan Emily says, I love the show tonight. Gonna watch it again. Oh, I appreciate that. Cool. Okay, so guys, if you have questions for Janine, of course, I'm remote here. It's hard for me to do the Discord and all that stuff. So I'm going to try to get some from the live window here. I do, of course, Janine and I do, of course, appreciate the tips on PayPal. It is what makes it possible for us to do all these shows. As you know, the show is still demonetized here on YouTube, but it is the nature of the war we're fighting. So while I wait for some of those questions to populate there in the live chat and see if I can pick some of them up, what else I had that was funny, Janine, you and I have been talking about this queen and the what do we call it? The London Bridge falling code here for quite some time. Of course, we heard yesterday that she was positive with COVID. She was having some complications, but here apparently in her news report, they accidentally revealed that the doctors were giving them banned product. I won't even say the name here, but everything that the mainstream media telling us right now is absolutely bad and horrible for you and for horses. Apparently, they're giving it to the lizards, to the queen. I mean. What is this, Janine? Is this a white hat op again to wake up people?
I'm telling you, you know what I mean? That's the kind of things that really give me, really deeply make me think white hats. Okay, because that just outed that, okay, the elites always get, you know, the best of everything, and things that aren't available to you, they get. And they don't have the same restrictions. They can jump on private planes. They can, you know what I mean? This is a very divided world where just the regular folks get called all kinds of names. And like Trudeau or Turdo, as I like to call him, is a prime example. I mean, he's from one of those families. Do you know what I mean? He has no clue what it's like to be in the real world. The guy has no clue. I know they're just puppeting some actor but they're playing it like exactly like he would probably.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just speeding everything up and making it a little more dramatic so people wake the hell up. And I'm pretty sure that's what that thing's all about. I mean, why else would they let that slip? Come on. They've been so secretive about the Queen or the whole royal family, but in the last couple of years, they've been letting all kinds of things slip.
Let's ask this question as we're talking. You and I have read on this quite a few times, and the cards seem to be adamant that she's already gone, but they haven't announced it to us now. And they keep drip dropping this information that perhaps she's not well to eventually tell us that she's gone. Going back to this army scenario you're talking about for Canada, let's say they did announce a London Bridge is falling. Does that initiate a whole bunch of steps to dissolve the Commonwealth and perhaps bring a new leadership and a new reconstituted Canada here, as Cliff High is picking up in his WebBot data?
Okay, so I got these first. Surrender to, they've been working on something to do with this for a really long time. That card works on something for a really long time. And then I got in the past, yes, as you were speaking, and yes. So whatever you were saying there, the cards were saying yes to. So yes. And they've been working on it for a really long time. This plan's been in place. I think those white hats have been in the background a little longer than originally some people thought. I don't think it's just been a couple of years. I don't remember when that video went out that was called The Timeline, where Mr. US, Mr. T went around and he did all those really weird visits to all those countries, including, the British, monarchs. And he walked in front of the Queen, and the Queen never after that wore her regalia into Parliament like she usually did at certain times, and certain times of the year she'd wear certain things. She'd stop doing all of that. A whole bunch of weird things started happening, and then eventually they moved out of the palaces in London. They moved out of Buckingham Palace. It seemed to be boarded up for a while. Weird things. Okay, there's so many weird things we can't even talk about all of them, and it's all come to, I think, what's going on.
Wow. Okay. Somebody's asking, Tammy, let's take a quick trip here south of the border. She's asking, can you read about the U.S.? What's going on in the U.S.? Of course, the Truth Social coming up. We're seeing military movement. We're seeing Biden acquiesce to having this trilateral talks between France, Ukraine, and Russia. We've seen some headway on Russia on that front here today, giving some autonomy here to Ukraine. But what's happening in the U.S.? Let's pull some cards here and see what's in store for them maybe in the next couple of days of this week. So thank you, Tammy, for that question.
Well, interesting. Okay, so we've got the Magician here. So a lot of things that are going on in the US are also a movie. Okay. Literally a movie. Yeah, you're watching a lot of it's a lot of smoke and mirrors around what the government are doing or not doing. And there's all of this stuff. Seeds have been planted for a really long time for a whole lot of things to happen. And I think even in the next day or two, you're going to see a lot of those things come to fruition that people have been waiting for a really long time. So they might officially have to come out with who's really running the country. They might officially have to come out with who really won the election. They might officially have to come out with a whole bunch of stuff, right? So things have been going on in the background, but they're going to come forward with that ace. So there's going to be some big reveals that just flip everything. And I'm thinking in the next, like sometime this week, and a lot of people are hoping it's tomorrow. And I hope it's tomorrow too. But when I looked at it really close in the tarot by Janine, it wasn't promising tomorrow. It was saying more like they're going to try to make it tomorrow, but there's some concern about safety again.
Yeah, and again, Julie kept reminding me of this too. Yes, the astrological peaks are on specific dates, but these astrological bodies take a long time to move in our skies. So the energies is still there before the peak date and also after the peak date. So again, just a reminder, people, and it's not that the events might not happen tomorrow, but we might not be made aware of them, of course, because of mainstream news and other obfuscation tactics being put upon us. So we might not know right away tomorrow if anything actually is happening on that front, but that's interesting. Okay, Ben is asking a question here. Let's pull this one up. Actually, I thought it was funny. Well, no, funny in the sense of, oh yeah, I didn't think about that, but imagine that. We saw the reports of the UN planes in Northern Ontario. Some people said that that was false, discredited information. I don't know. Again, some of these things we're doing live on the screen, and we try to bring you the truth as best we can. But there seemed to be some weird cops that were imported on Friday. I can say that. I was here on the ground. Now, whether or not they came from those UN planes, again, I said in the show last night, I don't know. But here's a question. Were there some off-worlders, entities among the police, or even involved in this power grab here in Ottawa? I'm curious to see if there's negative entities from off-world involved in this, or even positive ones. Let's open up the question.
Wow. Wow. Well, it looks like they're specially trained. A large amount were really specially trained because they're like strength cards. They've been doing this for a really long time and very specially trained and come from a lot of personal strength, which we saw just in the look of them and everything. I don't really get a yes on non-human.
Okay.
I don't get a yes on non-human, but this is interesting. So we've got that this is in advice, which is interesting. So I'll just, because I just pulled it, I'm just going to try to figure it out in front of everybody right now. But yeah. So we've got the Tower, which is shocking, something shocking, and or a revelation, something that sort of wakes people up, because the Tower can wake people up. It can be a revelation, and a revelation about the moon, a revelation about secret hidden things, I think we're going to discover through maybe doing our homework on those, who those troops were, who those people were that seemed to be cops, but we weren't sure. They weren't wearing badge numbers or names or identifying themselves or whatever. I have a feeling they're very deeply hidden, and it's going to be shocking who they really are once the smoke clears. Yeah. So keep doing your homework and keep watching, because it's not, I don't think we've hit on exactly who it is. I don't think it's the UN. I don't think it's, but it could be, it's definitely a big mystery right now, and it wants to remain a mystery for some reason. When the cards come up with the moon, it's not going to tell us what it is yet, but it's going to be a shock who it is, or a big surprise and a revelation anyway.
Okay, good question, Ben. Who knows? Time will tell here. So we'll keep our feet to the fire on that one and continue investigating. This one here, Huddle Crypto. Can we use the First Nations treaties to take back Ottawa? I'm going to go even further and say take back Canada, and especially in a London Bridge down situation. Let's see what the cards have to say about that, Jenny. That's a great question. Again, the reconstituted Canada, the breakup of the Commonwealth here being in the...
I feel like that's our karmic lesson, is to do that. I think that's a big part of what we karmically need to do. So surrender to, that would be, that would help balance things if we did that. And a really long, and this card was in the middle, which is, so it's too, I would say it's right and just because she's right and just. She's also really independent and has integrity. So it would be the integral, right, and just thing to do. Okay, so but they've never stood up that, like they've tried to, but they don't have the backing of the general public. As maybe they have lately a little more, but do you know what I mean? Indigenous peoples of Canada have not really stood up, even through not to the extent that probably needs to happen, is what I'm thinking. And this card here says it would be a self-loving act. It would be something that would heal them as a people, or go a long way to healing a lot of their wounds as a people, if they step up and take those rights. Because probably if they look around, they've actually got the keys probably to all of this. And I used to see that. And by the way, my family is on my dad's side Indigenous. He's a Métis, and we just got, several of us went ahead and got our Indigenous numbers. So we actually are counted as an Indigenous persons of Canada, which just happened recently for various reasons. But anyway, we're doing it because we just want to be counted. We don't have a reserve. We're not from, so we're not going to get any benefits or anything like that. The benefit is we get to say we're counted, and it counts the numbers. So I suggest people do that if they can do that. It brings the numbers up, and it could help this. A long time ago, when a friend of mine and I were studying astrology years ago, like 30 years ago, we saw all of this happening. We saw the battle of the dark and the light, and the final battle of repressive draconian energies trying to take over the world or keep control of it, and that the humans would win. We also saw that the Indigenous peoples all over the world were actually the ones who would come out as some of our biggest leaders. So I think it's karmic and right. So if some peoples from those tribes in Canada want to really look into that, I highly recommend they do, because they've actually got it at their fingertips, it looks like.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That's a whole other show. I'd like to develop that a little bit more with you, maybe even in a special episode for that. We owe a lot of our roots to our original peoples here across the world. So paying homage to that in a much different way than the politicians, of course, are trying to do that with the Truth and Reconciliation half measures this year. Anyways, Janine, you and I can come back to that. There's a question on the screen here about lightning in Australia, and I think there was a comment also from Cliff High. Do you know where this person is leading with this question, Janine? What she's talking about here? Am I missing something?
I did share several things I was getting from people where there was this incredible amount of lightning strikes all around areas in Australia all at the same time, and it was very odd and, well, just unprecedented, just totally strange. And that was a few days ago, and there was a map of it, and where and it was just like so concentrated, it didn't make any logical sense to just be there.
Okay, let me see if I can bring that up. I have the Google News search article with all of that here. I'm trying to do that live when I'm with you, but Janine, you seem to be frozen on the screen. Okay, you're there. Okay, I have it here. Yes, the lightning 6 days ago. And Cliff was saying, let me see if I can bring this up. Cliff, something is happening in the AU continent. Not only the lightning this year, but earthquakes also. Janine, what's going on? Let's pull some cards and see what's behind all of this atmospheric and also tectonic plate activity here.
Wow.
And hold on just a sec, Janine. Just to let you know, folks, too, I've been in contact with Tamara a couple of times the last couple of weeks. We've been just absolutely busy doing this wartime reporting here, but she is going to come back on the show, and we wanted to do another segment here to update the audience here on what's going on in Australia. So hopefully I should be back tomorrow at home. I'm going to go back and look at the schedule and see if we can put that on the board. So just stay tuned for the schedule on that. Janine.
Okay, so it's really interesting. It looks like there's alliance behind some of it, because this is a fair and just card. And this is, I almost feel like they're trying to get people's attention about something, because we've got that big ace, and then we've got my alliance, Mr. T, and the white hats, and we've also got this fair and just, so something about justice coming. So maybe all that focus over there, they're trying to get your attention. And also, if they're cleaning up things and bringing justice to certain activities that we know go on and have, and in particular in Australia and New Zealand, there's a lot of underground activity, sort of the yucky variety and the dark hat variety. Okay, so that could have something to do with all of the earthquakes and quake action. But it looks like it's got something to do with the cleanup and drawing attention to the areas to tell you justice is coming. It almost looked like they were purposely trying to tell you that, like, so get your attention. So when you get things like that, all of a sudden everybody's circulating. There's all of this focus on Australia, and people start talking about it. It's like a creative way to draw attention and energy there. That's what it looks like. This is a really creative card, and this is about focus and energy and intent.
Wow. There was this big event last December, for December 21st, this mass world meditation at Uluru, and a lot of the original peoples there were also communicating to people from the stars there, and how all of this years was going to be impacted by that specific event. So I'm wondering if Uluru and the peoples there also have something to do with these lightnings and earthquakes, basically bringing up this mass awakening here in Australia as well. I think that's absolutely fascinating. Whoa.
As you were talking. So
Yeah.
it connects to that. So that's our third ace.
Wow.
So there seems to be a lot of reasons why that's happening. You know how in your physical body, when you're feeling a certain way, physical things start happening. Like when I'm repressing emotions or whatever, it'll come, my knees go out, like, but it's not literally I have bad knees, you know what I mean? And like everybody's got different things. My ears, things act up with my ears, right? But I know that it's physically not literal. I'm not ill, or there's nothing wrong with me. Okay, I have a feeling the earth and the world does that too. So when there's a whole bunch of energy focus somewhere and healing happening and big stuff going on like there is there, all of a sudden it might attract all of that energy and or display it like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's fascinating. So, folks, if you're interested in that Uluru special, I did a two-part series with Solretta and Kevin and Evan Strong. That was from last December. So just go in the past videos on this YouTube channel. Oh, wait, I might have lost the channel since then. Actually, you're right. That's why I'm looking for it now, and I can't find it on the screen. Damn it, Janine. Goddamn censorship. It is what it is. But you could probably find up on my backup on my Odyssey channel. You might be able to go and pick that one up. Okay, so there's a few people in the chat saying, yes, look at this. Janine, you're a little bit frozen here. But yeah, 11,000 in the live chat right now. Absolutely cool. And the number is actually higher now. This was a few minutes ago. So again, a big thank you to all of you guys. I really love you. Please hit that like button and do comment below and share interaction with us. Let's try to Actually, no, it's 12K last night. So it's still really cool. I'm really happy about that. So a big thank you to all of you. That's amazing. Ben, didn't Indigo Angel speak about the Australian grid? Yes, absolutely. The Dove grid. Yeah. So guys, go check that out on Indigo's channel. She'll be back also in a couple of weeks here. We're going to do a part 2 to that 140,000 or 44,000 starseed video we did the other day. I think that's going to be absolutely interesting. The next one is going to be on the Voyager series and the Guardians and how they are also connected to this starseed program. So we just spoke today. We should be bringing that up on the schedule here maybe in a week or two from now. Janine, before we go, we're 53 minutes in. Anything else you wanted to share with the audience tonight that we perhaps forgot about on the slide deck, or do you want to just go into perhaps reading the energy here for the next couple of days and sharing with the audience what the universe needs them to know?
Yeah, let's ask the universe.
Okay, and while we do that, I wanted to bring up this slide here, Freedom Chain here. This is set for March 5th, a Trans-Canada Highway initiative here to see if we can do the longest chain here in the world. If we can win the world record with that, that would be absolutely cool. So share this image on your Twitters and your social media everywhere. Interesting, the March 5th also. Maybe we can pull some cards on that in the next episode, why it's March 5th. But anyways, let's see what the universe has to say here for the next couple of days.
I feel like this is specifically for people affected by what happened in Canada tonight. Okay, so things are going on underneath the surface. What appears to be hurtful and hurt, like it hurt, it was a gut punch, whatever. Things are going on that we didn't see that are to your advantage. Okay, so just so you remember that, because this card says things are going to look a lot different. Things are going to look a lot different as the days go by. It's nothing like what it appears right now. And all those political moves you can maneuver in your mind, I don't get any of the above is going to actually happen. I think it's because it's not, you're watching something that's been orchestrated for some reason. It's not as real as it looks. Okay. I just remember that. We're moving towards victory, and it just looks really bad right now. It does. It looks really bad. You think you're going to get your bank, like, and some people are saying they got their bank accounts frozen. They're threatening to. I feel like we got a whole bunch of posturing. You will see little pockets of things happening for people where it's not that fun. Okay, but this is a big part of the movie right now. So just try to remember that, you guys, because it's going to feel a little ouchy here.
Yeah. Feeling a little bit ouchy, and if you want to try to get some education here and get your assets out of harm's way, please do go check out the Beyond Crypto Panic to Own course here. You can find that on our pay-per-view. And of course, the Astro Woo Finance is also there now on sale at SAVES33 is the coupon code. And if you're looking at getting some physical gold and silver in your hands, please do go check out beyondmystic.net/silver there for the how to say this, discounts afforded to the Beyond Mystic audience. I'm sorry, it's a long day, Janine. And of course, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Please check out here the live stream studio for the next couple of days. We have quite a few shows, including Penny Kelly coming up tomorrow night on February 22nd. We are going to be talking about this 222 and also her latest look-see. So stay tuned for that. And of course, Janine is going to be back on Wednesday night. And Thursday, Sherry Divban is coming back. We're talking about healing with the children here too, so that's going to be a great episode. And on Friday night, Joy and I are also going to be doing another wacky woo. We're going to get into more of this crypto and silver and gold and what's happening with capital outflows around the world right now, so you don't want to miss that. In the meantime, guys, you can go and subscribe here to Tarot by Janine here on YouTube and also on her Sending Ravens. And last but not least, Janine, sendingravens.com. What's going on? Do you have stock available for the audience?
Okay, so Christmas was bad because she missed out on 2 big shipments, but they came in and she's really stocked up. So she's really stocked up with everything. So the website's back up and running. We got everybody finally sorted out from the Christmas schmozzle. And we're adding incense. So in the next few days, you'll start to see incense and candles as well with the scents. The smells. So if you love all those smells we got going on, all those yummy smells, you're going to love the incense and the candles. So that's what's going on. Oh, where'd you go?
There you go. No, I'm good. I'm good. It's me. I'm trying to switch on my laptop here. It is very hard to do doing these live streams on the go here. So folks, do go check out sendingravens.com. The products are available now. And a big thank you. It is what supports also Janine in helping her do all of these amazing free shows on YouTube for you guys, both on her channels and also here, but everywhere else with other guest speakers, fabulous guest speakers around the world. If you haven't seen it already, go check out our interview with James Gilliland from a couple of days ago. Now, last but not least, of course, Cliff High's Pure Sleep is going to be available on pre-order. This is version 2.0 starting tomorrow. I did get a taster or a teaser of this a couple of weeks ago. Sarah and I actually like it. We love the taste of this new one, and I find that it dissolves a little bit better than the previous concoction. So this is the new and improved Cliff High Pure Sleep. So if you're looking at getting a better night's sleep, here's where you can do it. And of course, you can pre-order today. Imagine that on 2222. What a day to have a coupon code ready for you guys. So anyways, if you click the link on my website, Beyond Mystic is the coupon code for the majority of the products there at Pure Sleep. So do go and check it out. This was another episode here of the Freedom Convoy as we look at this Emergencies Act and how things are going to transpire in our land. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I love you guys, and we'll see you soon. Au revoir.
Au revoir.